Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the webinar with SAP Finug and Neomore. My name is Aleksi Rustholkarhu, and I'm working as Executive Director at SAP Finug. And today we have a very interesting topic with experts Robert, Pasi, and Mikko on the line, and they will introduce us in a minute. I want to first go through a couple of practicalities for the webinar before we start with today's topic of Clean Core. So once again, welcome everybody. You are now muted, but you can join and ask questions and comments via the questions section. And we have reserved a bit of time at the end to go through with your questions. And you will receive a webinar recording with the presentation materials after the webinar via email. So let's take also a quick sneak peek of the Finug's upcoming events. And the first is the biggest one, of course, the autumn seminar. The SUSE seminar is coming, and I hope to see you everybody there. Very interesting keynotes and a full track of interesting SAP customer stories with a lot of interesting partners also presenting and with the partner exhibition. So I hope to see you there. And also a lot of upcoming events with other partners also, but I want to highlight the Neomore. This is the first of the 3 webinar series from them. Very interesting topics also upcoming: SAP Build and Business AI. Read about them more on our webpage and join. Also, for the user members only events, we have the special interest groups. Very interesting topics just to upcoming HR, finance, and project management is a new one, and also licensing. Read more on our webpage and hope to see you there. And now let's go today's topic. Very interesting one, and I'll let you, Robert, and Mikko and Pasi, to introduce yourself better, and the virtual stage is yours. Let's have a very interesting webinar together.
Thanks, Aleksi, and warm welcome also from our side to this first webinar of our webinar series. And if we start with a quick introduction, I can start. My name is Robert. I'm heading our cloud technology and architecture team, and we deal with everything that's out there in the cloud from SAP. So BTP is a huge topic, integrations, and public cloud as well. And yeah, also today, like this topic about Clean Core is also something that we deal with in my team. All right, who goes next?
Yes, my name is Pasi. I work for Neomore for application consultant for industrial management point of view. And today we see the project experiments is for Meyer. And the Meyer has been running S4HANA for industrial management organization already 3 years. So you are going to see how S4HANA has been adapted and extended on that customer.
Yes, hello from my side as well. Mikko Hulkkonen. I'm head of UX and application innovations here at Neomore. So basically my area is on the custom Fiori development and backend developments, and also I'm heading the Neomore solutions development, which I'm going to talk about to you today.
All right, thank you. And let's jump into the topic. And I'm happy to see so many of you online for this 3-hour session about Clean Core. No, just joking. Like, we could actually spend 3 hours talking about that topic, but today Aleksi only gave us 1 hour, so let's make that quick. Quick introduction to Neomore. So we are IT consultants, all located here in Finland. We have Espoo office and the office in Tampere as well. For more than 40 customers is what we are serving in various areas of expertise that you can see on the right side. Right, we also have a lot of consultants in our partner network, definitely more than 20. And of course, we are also constantly looking for new talents. So if you feel like you want to join Neomore at some point, then just let us know. All right, what we do is we have a lot of expertise on the business process side and on the functional consulting side, where we support our clients in all areas, all LOBs of the SAP system and beyond. That is one thing. Then my team, as I already said, is dealing with all the cloud technology. We have BTP architects, integration architects. We can support you in setting up your systems, defining your architecture, and we're also the leading BTP partner here in Finland. We support all areas and all services that are out there on the BTP space. And during the last year, we invested a lot, and now I have a lot of expertise also, and a lot of customer projects, and learned a lot during the last years, which we now want to give back to all of you. Right, and last but not least, we also have the UI and UX application development team, Mikko's team, where we develop extensions on top of S4HANA with the latest technologies and tools, also to make sure that the extensions that we build are according to the clean core principles. Right, and of course, AMS support and cloud application lifecycle management is also what we support. Let's go to the next slide. Here you can see a list of our customers. Is actually only an excerpt. There are many more, but those are the ones that we want to highlight here. Right, but now let's go into the topic. Today we are talking about clean core. Clean core S4HANA. I think you all have heard about it. But let's quickly define what that actually means, so we are all on the same page. There's a lot of rumors going on and a lot of discussion about clean core, but actually it goes down to 5 different areas of being clean and having a clean core. First, and maybe also the most important, is about business processes. So you have to make sure your business processes are clean. That means with the introduction of S4HANA, we conduct fit to standard workshops. We try to be as close to the SAP standard as possible. That means we follow SAP best practices and want to reduce the complexity of our processes. Second is the extensibility part, where we also put the focus on today. That means we want to build extensions the right way. Instead of messing up the S4HANA core and doing extensions and user exits and all that stuff directly in the S4HANA core, we want to decouple the extensions and run them side by side on the BTP. And Mikko will give you a nice demo of a side-by-side running application which runs on BTP and is connected to S4HANA. Right. Third part is then the data part, and the solution that Mikko is about to present also goes into that direction and makes sure that you can control your data nicely and the data is clean, meaning you don't have any duplicates and so on, and you're also according to the latest standards. Integrations, also a huge topic for us. With our integration consultants, we make sure that the integrations are also clean core aligned, meaning we focus on standard APIs, extend standard APIs, use event-driven architecture like event mesh to make sure those integrations run smoothly, run also efficient and also stable and very flexible as well. So no point-to-point integrations, no custom iDocs, no web services, for example, but we focus on latest technologies here. And when it comes to operations, those also need to be effective and efficient. Right. So when we talk about clean core and the extensibility, maybe you have seen this slide before, but it comes down to those 3 aspects that also Pasi will show you in a second. So first step, if we see an S4HANA system and we feel like, okay, we need to adapt it a bit, then there's this key user in-app extensibility with the Adapt UI functionality, you can adapt your user interface. You can create custom analytics. You can expose data, create custom OData services, CDS views. Of course, you can manipulate your forms and output, and a lot more. Right, and if that is not enough, we have also this on-stack developer extensibility, where we also, using some coding, can extend the standard apps and, for example, add some custom fields that you already bring from your ECC system or that you already have in your system, and we can make sure that those fields also show up on the UI. And right, and third step, if we feel like, okay, the standard app that we are using or that SAP provides, that they do not fulfill our needs, then we can also develop side-by-side apps, and Mikko will show you how that is done. Right, okay. So, but when we are talking clean core, you have to ask yourself about 3 questions. First is, do you want to benefit from a clean core? That means if you want to benefit, that means you want to start using or continue using the latest features that SAP provides with every update. For example, AI functionalities, Joule is about to come, and things like that. And if you do not use the standard apps, but for example, stick to SAP GUI transactions, then you will miss those latest features of SAP. And of course, if you are following the clean core, all the updates and upgrades, they run much smoother. The projects are for updating are much smaller, and your TCO is, of course, much less compared to the traditional way of developing. Right. And yeah, so if you answer all those 3 questions that we listed here with yes, then you definitely need a clean core strategy. And that is something where you, and together with us, can think about how you want to go forward with that. But of course, this is it's a journey. That's why on the right side, we also put a picture of our colleagues joining a marathon in Helsinki. And yes, it's definitely not done within a day, but it's a journey that we can start going together to make the full potential of S4HANA and really start using the standard S4HANA apps that are out there, adjusting them, extending them, and then building extensions and integrations following the clean core principles. Right. So this slide, whenever I show this is a bit of an eye-opener. So let's imagine we are here on this spot. We just moved to S4HANA, and for whatever reason, we took some old developments, for example, or old processes, old data with us from the ECC times. And if we continue messing up our system and not following the clean core principles of SAP, then our deviation from the clean core, of course, continues to rise. And this will increase our TCO, and we don't have any benefits from the latest innovations from SAP and so on. So instead of continuing classically, at least from today onwards, decide, okay, from now on, we want to follow the clean core principles and want to really make sure we don't mess up our S4HANA system anymore. And then later on, as I said, it's a journey. We can then also look into the system and start cleaning up the S4HANA system to reduce the deviation from the clean core, yes, and follow more and more the best practices, cleaning up the system from the custom implementations that are not needed or that are not developed using the clean core principles, and redesign them. Right, but most important is to start following the clean core principles today. Right, and how Neomore can support you? First of all, we need some guidelines and a governance framework to achieve this clean core compliance. Meaning, whenever you have some new requirements, we together can make sure that those are following the SAP best practices and the guidelines that SAP provides, and we follow those clean core principles. Pasi will show you in a second about the standard Fiori apps, how those can be introduced, for example, in a standard sandbox, checking them out, and then starting to adapt and enhance them. And once we feel those are not enough, we need some extensions, then we can together check which is the right tool to use. Is it maybe build apps where we have also see some real benefits of using the build apps together with the citizen developer on our client side? We develop some apps together, and that is really also speeding up the development cycle. And also the clients have then, after all, the app in their hand and can adjust it to their needs. So in some point, it makes sense to develop with build apps, not in every case, of course. Regarding process automation, that's also something where we see a lot of interest and a lot of projects already started on that. With business AI, also very interesting topic. Join our session in 2 weeks from now, where we will tell you more about that. And then, of course, this custom Fiori development on BTP that Mikko is talking about. Right, last but not least, also, as I said, integrations need to be clean core aligned. So we follow the best practices, use the latest technology with event-driven architecture and standard APIs, and also develop clean core custom APIs for S/4HANA systems. But from day onwards, don't develop any custom IDOCs anymore, no custom web services, no SEGW, but use those technology that are supporting the clean core. All right. So maybe this is, one last slide. Here you can see where the apps should run in the future, those extensibility slides. They should run side by side on the BTP and not directly on the S/4HANA stack, and we connect via APIs to S/4HANA. I will send you those slides via the handout, so everything that's red should be avoided. Don't do those things anymore. But this is just for your reference. I won't go into details now, but if you have questions, feel free to ask, or we talk about those later. Now handing over to Pasi. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Robert. And I think for next few minutes, we can use the time for thinking about how we use the full potential of the S/4HANA investment. We are just thinking for adapting apps and also this extensibility to how to invest, how to use the investments. And SAP is also providing a best practices, and we are thinking about follow the SAP best practices. And the key message is at the first, of course, to identify which apps are available already in Fiori reference library, and mapping customer requirements with the standard apps which are already there. Like a step one for process point of view, for implementation point of view, is to do the rapid activation. So activate necessary apps for example, for industrial management organization, or for purchasing department or finance department. I think a next step is to evaluate and to use enough time with customer to run through these apps. Outcome of this is, of course, a list of the apps which are relevant for that specific customer for that specific release. But then most important is, of course, that probably customer is not able to run everything with standard apps, but then we come to this adaptation and enhancements. And then there is a results of the analysis is that which apps need to be adapted, which enhanced. Now let's try to be very concrete today. So we are talking about customer experiments, projects which we have been doing, for example, for Meyer. And the thing starts in very concrete that we are taking a business roles. So for example, industrial management, plant maintenance area, there is not only one app, but there is several apps which are relevant for plant maintenance processes. So then picking up the business roles. Business roles are, for example, maintenance planner, technician, supervisor, inventory manager, and a warehouse clerk. And the outcome of this activation run will be then all plant maintenance and of course inventory related apps are available. Here we have a concrete results. So a lot of apps will be available, but now most important where they are now at the first place in sandbox. So it means rapid activation is run through in sandbox. And then using a sandbox with the master data is important moment for using a few weeks, probably month, to evaluate which are relevant apps, and then most important also which apps need to be adapted and enhanced. And then result of that actually then later will be in a development quality and production. But now let's think about still this phase where we are analyzing apps in sandbox. SAP is also giving a best practice for that moment. First question is that do we have a Fiori apps available already for that business requirement? If app is there is a question, do we need the enhancement? If we don't need the enhancement, then that S/4HANA apps can be used as is. But if there is a need for enhancement, then we have at least two possibilities if we are categorizing this. So there's a key user tools, meaning adapting. And in next, we will see the concrete examples, what means adaptations. Then secondly, we have these enhancements. So then it means that we are using a customer specific fields inside of standard app. You will see also that in few minutes. But secondly, if standard app is not available based on analyze, then let's think about, is there SAP GUI transaction available to fulfill that customer need? If that's available, SAP is recommending asking a question, does that SAP GUI transaction needs a simplification? If not, then we are using that GUI in Fiori Launchpad as a tile, but also there's possibility to use a screen personas to simplify that SAP GUI transaction. But then also important point is that all remaining customer requirements, then custom app development is of course taking place. Still in nutshell, so in analyze in sandbox, there is a three categories: adapt, extend, and enhance. At the next step, we are concentrating adaptation and extensions. Adaptation means in very concrete, Fiori, for example, sales order app is open, and we have a adapt UI menu path available. So when we take a adapt UI, then app is shown as a UI adaptation mode, and then it's possible to adapt that app with hiding fields, renaming fields, rearranging a screen, hiding a buttons, and so on. There is also possible to put additional fields based on this OData service, meaning these standard apps fields which are available for that app. But today we also concentrate to add the custom fields. So say UI adaptation can be used to add the custom fields as well. Now project experiments is solution is in production environment for Meyer. So important is of course that we are not changing that standard app. For example, here concrete is manage product master data. So it's a traditional MM03 transaction, display material in S/4HANA, display product. So we are all familiar with a lot of tabs, but now in Meyer there is a find spare part simplified app variant. It's only few tabs available, but also data screen is rearranged. So only show the necessary fields, for example, for industrial management organization. For example, sales view is not relevant for that business area. Project experiment, meaning now there is a perform maintenance job, standard app in app library, very rich functionality, good functionality for maintenance technician to review, execute, and report maintenance jobs. But when we are looking at SAP standard, there is a measurement functionality. Also, good functionality for some business line, but for example, Meyer business, they are not using measurements. So then Meyer perform maintenance job measurement tab is hidden. And then of course, all functionality related to measurements are not in use. But then later, it's possible to take it in use. Other concrete example, so same app, perform maintenance job, and there is a record time functionality. So meaning there is a button, meaning pop-up. Pop-up is in standard showing here is a 16 fields. But now let's go to Meyer system. So there is a 6 fields. So 10 fields which are not relevant for that business. So it's hidden. To simplify, to show the only necessary fields. One more simplification, like in basic perform maintenance job. Selection screen, business decided that they don't want to use a create maintenance request button. And then of course, behind that, there is a functionality to create a new malfunction report. So in Meyer system, button is not visible, but still this full functionality for perform maintenance job itself is there. I think that today we can still see the live example how this perform maintenance job is running with adapted functionality. So it means that we select the maintenance operation. User is able to see rearranged fields, rearranged adapted screen area. For example, component tab is still there because it was found very useful, completely standard. In Meyer system, users are pressing a record time. Now you see the simplified screen. User is feeding time, confirming a job, and then giving a comment. So confirmation text for maintenance operation. Completely standard, but adapted. And now operation is confirmed, 100% for that operation is done. User goes back. We don't see, for example, record maintenance notifications button, and now user is back in a Fiori Launchpad. Now at the next, let's think about the extensions. So now we are changing app. So app is now process maintenance orders. So standard app. And now standard app is extended. So for Meyer business, of course, ship information is very important. But now there is on selection, there is a hull, area, fire zone, scaffold related fields, meaning completely custom fields. They are now part of the standard app. On selection, and then of course in output. Still buttons like change status, change responsibility, so everything is still there. And now we are connecting these two things. When there is enhancements for set custom fields, but now when we are using a UI adaptation, it's possible to add, and we remember it was possible to add custom fields as well, not only standard. And now there is a deck, fire zone, and hull number available to add for standard maintenance order screen. Now, second example, project experiments is, so same custom fields are also available now for this perform maintenance job app. So when CDS view is extended, now custom fields are available to add it for standard app. And last thing important is, of course, that we have this published version. What is this adapted version? That's already in production, but still that SAP standard app is still there. So if there is a need to do the second variant or third variant, so standard is still there. I think that now we are going to Neomore solution, and Mikko, you can take over, and we will hear today that what kind of solutions Neomore is building.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So, as Robert already mentioned in the beginning, this is kind of now building up to what he mentioned about clean core, and as we like to say, it's clean core all the way. First, about Neomore solutions in general. So this is a new area that we are now, or we have started. We have now finalized the first Neomore solution. In general, what we are talking about, these are ready to use, easy to deploy SaaS applications. Of course, running on SAP BTP platform when we talk about the SAP landscape and ecosystem. The ways of building these apps, we use clean core. Aim is to not to use coding in SAP at all, so keeping all the custom development in BTP, so forth. So pretty much the following the SAP guidelines, best practices, clean core, so forth. These solutions will be published in SAP Store and also in SAP Industry Cloud. So we have SAP's stamp of approval for this as well. And one important approach for us, of course, we have many long-term customers. We have been doing similar things as development projects. So also with these solutions, we like to co-innovate with our customers, like to get the feedback, like to have workshops together and think that what would be needed in these kind of solutions, and then build them together with the customers. And now our first solution, Neomore Master Data Suite. I'm using this now as an example, of course, showing what this is about, but also this is a really good by the book example how we are going to build these solutions. So, as the name says, Master Data Suite is all about maintaining master data as easily as possible, having master data quality as good as possible. I'm not going to now spend that much time on explaining. I bet that everyone is more or less aware that if your master data is not good, quality is not good, it's not, well, whatever issues with that, it causes many kinds of problems on multiple areas. And that's why we have seen this extremely good first solution, as it's pretty much a topic that concerns everyone. 3 main points about our solution. We started thinking that we have an application that first guides customer and the user to input correct data when creating or changing the master data, giving instructions in the application, so forth. Second of all, next step, validating automatically. We have built customization configuration to the application that customer organization can easily set certain validations, how to check the data that is to be input. And third of all, we have a custom, really easy to use approval flow that we can set who and in which order which data is approved. And all this is happening before the data is created or changed in the SAP system. So we never let any not finalized data in the system in that sense. Yes. Briefly explaining the concrete roles in this application. First is the, I would say, standard role. Can be pretty much anyone in the organization acting as the requester, meaning that they can make a request to create a new material, create a request to change an existing material. Of course, everyone can see their own requests kind of with a standard list view as well. Next role is the approver, a person who has the user rights to edit requested data and approve it on their own area. It can be, for example, MRB data, financials, so forth, or it can be some master data specialists taking care of everything at once. And then they can approve or send it back if it's not good enough. Third role is, of course, required as the admin. So a person who can configure the application in itself. Of course, we help with this when setting things up, but later on, it's not required for us to configure and set up the application anymore. It's done by the admin users. They can set certain business rules for the validations and the guiding of the user. So restricting value sets that can be input, setting default values, mandatory fields, even on top of SAP mandatory fields, so forth. Then they can configure the approval rules. So meaning, as I said, in which order, which areas of data is to be approved, and of course, who can approve and what. Yes. Then some important facts on master data suite and also, as said, Neomore solutions in general. I would say that this is kind of a pure clean core application. So we are talking about the side-by-side extension in BTP. It includes the familiar Fiori UX. As said, it's pretty much configurable to customers' needs. And I want to highlight yet again that all the custom logic is in BTP, all the custom data is in BTP, everything, including the custom logic, is before going to SAP, and then we are using the standard APIs provided by SAP to get the required data from SAP and saving it back there. Master data suite is, as we speak, already an SAP approved solution, and it will be published to SAP Store and Industry Cloud during this year, so you can later on find it there. It supports all S/4HANA editions on-premise public cloud public edition, so forth. And well, to kind of sum up how this, of course, SaaS in general, this is as other SaaS solutions as well, but still highlighting that how it works with SAP SaaS solutions is that SAP provides the platform, BTP, required services, so forth. We provide the software, deploy it, and then you bring the requirements and your own SAP system. So easy deployment, predictable TCO, and so forth. Here is the architecture picture, not going into details, but for those who are interested, this is kind of highlighting what I mentioned before. So we have the BTP sub-account, and that includes the custom application. We have the SAP backend systems here, which are the standard ones. And here we have the standard APIs handling the communication. Right. Then for the demo. So I will show a quick glance of the application from our own system. So this is a live solution, no prototype or anything like that. Backend system is Neomore's cloud public edition, and the functionalities I'm going to show, giving a quick view on the admin views. It's a really simple one, easy to use, so let's check that. And then I have already some pre-existing requests, so I will make an approval for those. And one mention of the demo setup. So of course, when I'm now showing this, I have kind of SAP all for our solution, SAP all authorization. So that's why it kind of looks so, as I have all the roles at the same time. Okay. So waiting for this to reload. Okay. Here we can see the launchpad with our master data sheet tiles. We have the basic role tiles. Create request is for the requester and basically everyone. Material search, so you can search existing materials from the SAP system, and you can also make new requests based on those. So you can also take an existing material as the template and use that for creation of a new one. And then you have my requests tile. So as the name implies, it's either something that I have requested, or for the approvers, it's what they have either requested or waiting for their approval. And now going first to the admin view. So all the business rules are in this one tile. Okay. We have at the moment 4 tables. Maintenance of these rules is really simple. It's basically just tables to be input by the needed data. Of course, including export, import to Excel, so forth. We have the approval rules, meaning how the approval approval flow is working. Approvers is for persons, and then we have value help filterings for restricting, for example, data that is retrieved from SAP. So you can, for example, easily manage rollouts to different plants by restricting to which plant you can maintain data. And input configurations includes default values and so on. As an example, here we can see the approval flow, we have said that we have three different levels of making the approval. Once someone makes a request, it goes to the general data, goes to approval. There's a person who can approve general data, then it goes forward, and next step is some specialist who can approve MRP data. Then once they approve that part, then there's a master data specialist. This edit all means as a level that they can check everything, and then once that is approved, it will be created or changed to SAP. And here is an example. I can show also this input configuration as a quick view that I have set one default value for material types and set that it is a required field. I could now make new configurations, new rules just by clicking the add button and selecting the field to which I want to make a rule and so on. But moving on at this point. Okay, now I'm acting as the approver. I'm opening my requests. Now I have two requests pending for approval. Opening the first one. Now this view is basically the same one as creating a new request. So all the same fields, I can see that, okay, someone has requested with this general data, some MRP data for one plant, logistics, finance, so forth. Now acting as the first approver, I press edit. I want to change net weight from 3 to 4. I feel that that's more correct. Fine. Saving the change. And now I'm happy with the approval or the request. And now once pressing approve, I get a small demo effect, but anyway, it will move forward with the approval. And that is basically the main functionalities of this application. Okay, moving on. Yes, Robert.
All right, thanks, Mikko. Yes, two more slides, a little bit of marketing. If you like this session, we have two more coming up on the following Tuesdays. Next Tuesday is all about SAP Build, Build apps, process automation, work zone, build code, all that. And the week after, we are talking about SAP Business AI on BTP. Right, please join that if you haven't signed up yet. If you like this session, we also run so-called BTP Roadshow. Those are dedicated to our clients, specifically tailored to your needs, free of charge. And depending on your schedule, we can organize those in several online sessions. You can come to our office in Espoo, in Tampere. We host it here. We come to your place. We host it there. We align the agenda together. And we bring those topics that we were talking about today and the topics we are talking about in the webinar to you to get a common understanding about what we are talking about and about the potential that we see in BTP. All right, last slide. Key takeaways: start developing and thinking about your clean core strategy and roadmap. Number one, make the most of the standard apps, extend those, enhance those, and get the full user experience out of those. And then develop custom extensions and integrations following the clean core principles using the potential of BTP and the expertise of Neomore. All right, thanks for joining. And over to you, Alexi, for questions.
Thank you very much, guys. Very interesting webinar. And we already have quite many questions here, and we have a good time to go through them. And if you have, and I see more questions coming all the time, so if you have questions now, is a very good time to type those into the chat or into the question section, and we are taking them here on live. So let's start with the questions. There is a first one for the Meyer case. Hey, the adapted S4HANA Meyer Turku, which was shown to us, is it that S4HANA on-prem or private cloud? And how much of those adaptations would be possible in S4HANA public cloud?
Yes, first of all, it's on-prem. So can we say traditional on-prem installation? And these adaptations are fully possible in public cloud. Yes.
Basically, it doesn't matter where you host it, public cloud, private cloud, on-prem. Those can be done everywhere.
Thank you very much. The next question is referring to master data solution. Is it at the top of S4HANA? And how does your suite solution compare to S4HANA master data governance capability?
Yes, so it is on top of S4HANA in that sense, or as mentioned, that it works with the S4HANA, but it's not inside the S4HANA core. It's on the BTP extended to be used with the S4HANA. And regarding the MDG, I would maybe sum up that we are focusing on certain aspects of the master data management. MDG is a more heavy, as SAP strategy also with us partners is to cater to the, let's say, biggest enterprises, and for us it might be a kind of a bit more distinct area to cater for. And also one thing to mention that when we are going to industry cloud, it means that it is to some extent industry specific, and for master data suite we are then talking about manufacturing industry at the moment. So then we are of course considering mostly the manufacturing industry specific functionalities.
Great, thank you very much. Let's go for the next one. That is, how about the old ECC world? How clean core compliant you can be there? Or is the clean core focusing mostly in S4HANA environments?
That's a really good question. If I take that up, only with S4HANA, SAP provides those APIs that you can find on api.sap.com. And those are more than 800 APIs that we can use to extend the S4 system. Those are not yet available on, those will never be available on ECC. So we cannot use them. But of course, also on ECC, we can develop extensions and also integrations in a way that once we are on S4, can more easily start using those clean core functionalities and features. So also, for example, event-driven architecture is something that we do on ECC systems. And and also developing custom old data services on ECC is possible. That's also something that will be then easy to switch once we have the API available on S4HANA. Right. So there are ways to prepare for clean core, but doing actual clean core is not yet possible on ECC and will never be.
Yeah, there's also a next question regarding to the clean core. Is it using AMDB? I think it's ABAP managed database procedure.
Is using AMDB a clean core? Yes and no. So it's a bit hard to answer that question without having a bit more content and direction where this is coming from, this question. So if we could get more content on those, then I think it's easier to answer.
Yes, please ask in more detail so the guys can answer. Okay, there is a next question. Any comment on the cost impact while keeping the core clean from the consumption of cloud credits perspective? Would you recommend use more embedded Steampunk instead of BTP?
Well, there are several aspects in that question, but consuming those APIs without, for example, an integration layer on integration suite, which is not mandatory if we run the apps on the BTP platform, that does not come with any additional cost impact. What was the second aspect of that question? The embedded Steampunk instead of BTP. Yes, definitely. So it's not always needed, and actually it's quite hard to identify use cases where we would need the ABAP on cloud on BTP, where we would then develop something on the ABAP on BTP. So actually, in most of the cases, it makes much more sense to develop in the embedded Steampunk. It doesn't come with additional cost implications. And everything we were talking about, extending standard APIs, developing clean core custom APIs, is possible in the so-called embedded Steampunk environment, which is an environment that SAP provides to us, to you, where we can develop custom coding, which is then clean core compliant. So if you think about the ABAP development tools that we are using, there's this feature to develop that ABAP on cloud, dedicated to be approved ABAP on cloud development, and that means it's then clean core compliant, and that is embedded Steampunk, yes.
Thank you very much. There is still a couple of questions and we have a couple of minutes left, so if there are any questions left, please type them on the chat. And let's go for the next one. Also on the extensions and enhancements, how difficult or easy it is to make these mentioned enhancements or extensions for this S4 standard apps?
Well, that's a very good question, and we hear a lot. We cannot use the standard apps because we are missing some of our set fields, and the fields that we need, they are not there. But this is definitely not an excuse at all. It's very easy to do those adaptations, to add also your custom fields to the standard apps. You just need to assign a role to your user, and then you can start doing it without having any programming knowledge, or any coding is definitely not needed. In some cases, yes, because also those embedded tools, that they have some limitations that we see, so we might have to do some CDS enhancements also. But to start with, it's really easy. Yes.
Very nice to hear. There's a very direct question, this last one. This is a big project for many companies, this clean core. So how and where to start with the clean core?
Right. Yeah. Maybe if we come back to this graph that I was showing, the most important is that from today onwards, you follow the clean core principles and do not mess up the S4HANA system anymore, but instead follow the clean core principles. And from today onwards, at least for any new requirements and new developments, establish these clean core concepts, guidelines, have a governance on top of that, and start from there. And later on, you can think of cleaning up your system and moving those enhancements and integrations that you need to the next level to be clean core compliant and upgrade stable, and all the advantages that clean core brings.
This is great. Thank you for the answers. We're running out of time. There is one quick question, just to verify, is it really very easy to add custom Z fields to the public cloud S4HANA?
Yes, there's a app, custom fields, where you can define your own fields for every business object that you have. If we were talking about maintenance orders, we can think about purchase orders, sales orders, and then you can just go and create your Z fields as per your requirements, also to the public cloud. Yes.
Great. Thank you very much for the questions and the webinar. There's now a pop-up for the reminder on the screen, but let's not worry about that. Thank you, Robert, Mikko, and Pasi. Very interesting webinar. Very good questions also from the audience. So this is a very interesting topic, and very much hope to see you all on the upcoming webinar series, also from Neomore and also from other partners that we have. Would you like to guys say any final remarks for the webinar?
All good. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much.
Start your journey on the clean core, and let's be in touch. Thank you.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, and have a nice rest of the day, everybody. See you on upcoming webinars. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.